Good day and welcome to Rocket with Chief, conversations to take you places. My name's Daniel Robus. I'm your host for today, and I'm super excited to have a real heavyweight in Clive Butkow, CEO of Kalon Venture Partners. You have a pedigree of top-level consulting. You've worked in multiple major industries. You're a regular on the speaking circuit. You've been on TV, radio, a number of podcasts, and you're not afraid of answering the tough questions. You're now a mentor, a leader, a development person who is helping to stimulate our economy and the economy on the African continent. It's a real pleasure for me to finally meet you and to nail you down for a couple of minutes. Clive, I want to ask you something. You're a fan of South Africa. Where is your favorite South African holiday destination, and who do you take with you?
I must say, I love the Cape. Absolutely love the Cape. So I think undoubtedly there's lots of beautiful, South Africa's got some hidden gems that most people don't even know about. And a lot of South Africans end up flying overseas for their holidays when we've got the most incredible places like the game parks, and it's unbelievable some of the gems we have in this country. But for me, it's Cape Town. I just feel de-stressed when I go there. I have the privilege of owning a house there, so we're an apartment there. So I go to my apartment, and the apartment looks over the Atlantic Ocean, and we see dolphins and whales, and it's unbelievable. So yeah, that's definitely my favorite place, and my favorite people to go with is my wife and my 4 children. So the 6 of us and the rest of the family come and join us, like in December, and whenever we have an opportunity with school holidays. My youngest boy's still at school. So yeah, we're definitely the Western Cape, Cape Town.
Brilliant. That is brilliant. Now, Clive, you've had an amazing career, and we spoke just in the preparation about the 10 years you've broken out of corporate, done your own thing. How much of your success in a big name consulting house has been due to your education versus their mentorship programs that they gave you?
I think it's a combination of both. I always see myself, since I was a kid, I just knew somehow, I wanted to be successful. I came from a humble family. My parents didn't have a lot of money. I had started working when I was, very, very young age at 7. And already at that age, I don't know how I had the insights to, I was working in a men's clothes shop, to ask one of the very successful salespeople if I could just watch them for a few days and see what they do, because I couldn't sell anything. And I watched them, and suddenly I started copying them and what they were doing and how they sold, and I learned a fortune. And before you know it, I became the top salesman. I was probably 9 years old. I became the top salesman in the company. So this is my view on that, is the importance of mentors for every person I'm speaking here today, because I wouldn't be on this call today if it wasn't for mentors. And I don't think it was so much about Accenture's full mentorship program. I think it was more me climbing under the wings of giants that came before me. And that's something I learned in my younger years when I worked since I was 7 till 21, 22, when I graduated with my computer science and maths degree, is I always looked for mentors. And when I went to Accenture, I asked people, would you mentor me? Because I saw how good they were. They were sales mentors, they were leadership mentors, they were technology mentors, they were entrepreneurship mentors. And I asked for them to mentor me. So since, that I think a lot of my success was because of what I did. And those mentors told me what I needed to hear. They didn't tell me the good things. They told me the good things and the bad things. And they told me when I wasn't performing at my level and I could do better. They believed in me. And I think that's what's so critical about mentorship. And my advice to everyone is get mentors. It's not about one mentor, but it's not only just to get the good feedback. It's about get feedback that you need to hear, not what you want to hear. So because I was a learner, I always saw myself as work in process. I always saw myself as in permanent beta. I never ever felt that, entrepreneurship, leadership, whether you're in a corporate, you never arrive. It's a journey. It's not a destination. And I always knew that. So I kept on learning. And the reason I think I left Accenture eventually is I became very much the teacher. Okay. And I'd stopped learning because I had no one to learn from. And that's when I felt it was time for me to move on. Because
Clive, you were the boss.
I was the COO. So the COO and the CEO, we ran very much closely together in running the company. But it was still, there was no one for me to learn from. I was even mentoring the CEO, at the same time when I was the CEO.
Yeah.
But I really felt my learning had come to it was very, very slow. And they say it's like a tree. A tree, you're either growing or you're dying. You can never stand still. A tree never says, I'm good. Okay, I'm going to stop growing. You grow, you die. And I felt I was dying.
Yeah.
And so I felt I knew a lot about entrepreneurship. I built many, or helped build, and I'd been parachuted into many companies to help turn them around, many tech companies that I helped help them and advise them in growing them. Sometimes we closed the business, many times we raised capital, and the business went on to make a lot of money.
Yeah.
So I knew that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to be a venture capitalist, and a very, very nascent industry in South Africa.
Yeah.
But left Accenture, that's when I started Kalon, and been really exciting since then. Every single day is a challenge. Everyone says, "What do you do?" I say, "I'm a firefighter." They said, "No, what do you actually do?" I say, "I'm a firefighter." Because I put out fires every day, whatever those fires are, and then they catch on what I'm talking about. So it's very exciting to be in what I do. But 11 companies, and they all create different challenges, and it's a phenomenal learning opportunity and a growing opportunity for me and for them.
Yeah, I love your website, and we talk about the transformation that you're going through and how you transform businesses. You can't do that. Well, you can do that. You can do anything. But your formal education didn't just stop when you finished varsity. How much importance is there for young leaders to continue that formal education track? So those courses and post degrees and masters versus the learning in the trenches, in your opinion?
Look, I believe, school street smarts are far more effective than school smarts.
Okay.
So no question about that. When someone asked me what should they do, I said, first of all, get a degree.
Okay.
Because that's a safety net. If it does, something else doesn't work out, you've got a degree. And then I say, go and work at a company like Accenture for 5 years, or go and work in an entrepreneurial organization for 5 years. You'll learn about sales and marketing and product development and engineering and customer success, and you'll learn about everything about a business. And if you want to be an entrepreneur, that's when you can maybe be a CEO and start your own business. But so for me, I'm not one to favor going on and doing this and that and more education. Not for me. As I said, I think you learn a lot more in an organization actually doing things than learning things in a classroom. Now, a lot of academia would disagree with me, but I've seen it. I've seen the it's funny, you talk about, and I think it's so true, that the guys that actually failed university or didn't make university are the guys that are hiring the MBAs when they get into business.
Yeah.
Because typically those are the guys that are making these businesses successful. And you need a generalist to start a business that really understands all the things I just spoke about. To have a specialist who's a brilliant computer science or brilliant at marketing, or this, those are the guys that are hired by the generalist guys to be good in marketing and sales and et cetera, et cetera. So nothing wrong with getting an MBA. I think it's great, but I would get an MBA after 5 to 10 years of learning, then go into your MBA, not straight from school or straight from university. I think it's too early. You won't get out the same level as you do when you go and get the real street smarts, and that's being in an organization and learning, becoming a jack of all trades and a master of none. Or I call it a T-type entrepreneur, that you know one thing well, so that's the vertical, and then the horizontal is you get to know everything an inch deep. You get to know everything about the business, and that makes a great entrepreneur and sets you up for actually building your own business or going to join a very, very successful entrepreneurial business.
I love that idea. And especially in our current environment, we need more businesses. But what's the recipe for success for one of these new startups? When you look at a business, how do you know this is going to rock? If all things being fair, they're in the right kind of market, there is a market waiting for what they've got. What tells you good bet?
I think, for me, we back people. So number one is the people. I always ask the entrepreneurs, why do you do what you do? This is hard. You're going to work 12 hours a day. You're going to actually, I always say to them, you work 24/7. Because not that you're physically working, but even when you're in the shower or going out on Saturday night, you're thinking about your business. And that's the type of entrepreneurs that I want, that are 24/7 consumed by this business. And it might sound like, but that's not fair and there's no quality of life. There's no quality of life if you want to be a successful entrepreneur. Unfortunately, there's not. So start young, when you've got the energy and you've got the time and to do this. When you're a little bit older, it does become harder. But so we look at entrepreneurs. We look at the entrepreneur, what team they built around them, who else they're able to sell their vision to, because you've got to be a salesperson. Most businesses are founded not necessarily by one founder. I like at least two founders in a tech business. Someone that can make the stuff, build the stuff, the hacker, and then someone that can sell the stuff, the hustler.
Yeah.
So you need the hacker and the hustler, and at least two people, because typically if you've got 3-4 engineers that start a business, all they want to do, and my experience is they just want to build and build and build tech. You say, why haven't you gone live? No, it still needs these features. I say, no, go live. I mean, Reid Hoffman said it. He said, if you're not embarrassed by your first release of your software, you've released it too late. And he's absolutely right. So having a sales guy says, no, let's get this thing out there. Let's get a minimum viable product or a minimal viable saleable solution. Let's get it out there and see what the clients say. Let's get feedback from the clients. Because the most successful entrepreneurs are not people that build the tech and then go and find customers. They go and find customers that want their tech and then they go backwards into their business and build the tech. So you've got to do it customer in opposed to technology out.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't work technology out. It works customer in. So spend time finding out about what your customers want, what their problems are, what their real pains are. What if you build something and must be an aspirin for a pain they've got, not a vitamin for a nice to have, and it must be an aspirin for a need to have. And I'll tell you, those guys that do that, spend time on customer validation and customer discovery, are the businesses that typically build a successful business.
Wow, there's just so much there. I'm taking frantic notes. It makes a market for me. These people who build and they will come allows me to outsource sales. So let's not tell them the secret. You've got to be able to sell what you've got, don't you? Do you find South Africans sell well, medium, or badly?
Look, I think South Africa, unfortunately, has a lot of good innovation, a lot of good ideas, and I think we've got a lot of good engineers coming out of our university, so we're very fortunate with that. We can compete on engineers, so we got a lot of people who can build the stuff. But what's very hard is sales. Sales is hard. Okay. It's funny. You go to university, you learn how to be an engineer, you learn how to be an accountant, you learn how to be an actuary, but you don't learn how to be a salesman. No one teaches you that stuff. And it's the most important, for me, it's the most important skill you need as an entrepreneur, is the ability to sell. And when I say sell, I'm not just talking about selling to customers. I'm selling your vision to your employees, selling to the press, selling to investors. You always be selling. ABS, always be selling and always be closing. You're closing recruits, or you're closing clients, or you're closing investors, or you're closing someone. But if you can't sell, you have a problem. You can have the best technology in the world, but you aren't able to sell it. Unfortunately, you're going nowhere.
Sure, Clive. Sure. That is just reverberating with me. If you took a busload of young leaders away, now not everyone can be an entrepreneur. We need leaders in these environments. And they went away for a deep dive with Clive. Where would it be, and what's agenda points 1, 2, and 3?
Well, I think number one is you've got to learn how to solve problems. So it's problem solving. Any good entrepreneur, anyone anywhere working, you've got to be a problem solver. And when I talk about problem solving, I'm talking about execution. There's a lot of people who've got great ideas, and they talk great ideas and they come up with great ideas, but they actually can't turn their idea into a commercial entity. So it's learning how to be someone who can execute. You're learning how important it is not to be able to talk the talk, but you've got to be able to walk the talk. And you've got to be able to execute. And then it's about learning this thing I spoke about, enough about everything within entrepreneurship, that know a little bit about everything and don't just focus on one thing. Don't just focus on, being if you want to be an entrepreneur, you've got to get to know enough about everything. If you want to go into corporate, you've got to become an expert at one thing, because that's how you're growing a corporate. But at the same time, it's a bit of a killer of your career, because if you only know actuarial science and you only know how to be marketing, or you only know sales, or you only know engineering, you're actually killing yourself from ever starting your own company and being a great entrepreneur. Because you become that vertical side of that T. You're not the horizontal side of the T. You become the vertical side of the T. Yeah. As I said, to become a successful entrepreneur, you need to be both, have one thing you're brilliant at, but then be excellent, know enough about lots of things. There's nothing wrong. And the other lesson is there's nothing wrong with not being an entrepreneur. Not everyone is a risk taker.
Yeah.
Not everyone's got the appetite to take risks. So if you're not a risk taker and someone that is very comfortable being uncomfortable, don't be an entrepreneur. It's fine. You don't. It's just a choice. Entrepreneurship is not the solution to everyone's careers.
No.
Corporates are great. If you can build a great career in corporate, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
And if you really are a risk taker and you've got a little bit of capital to take a risk, and you want to get out your comfort zone, and you're comfortable being uncomfortable, and you want to change the world, and you've got that why, and you know your why, and you know why you're doing what you're doing, take a chance.
Yeah.
Take a chance. Don't let everyone tell you it's a bad idea. Go.
And are you telling your kids?
Want.
Are you telling your kids this, Clive?
You know, it's funny. I've got 4 children, and while I've told them that 2 of them are, my one daughter's doing her doctorate in Cambridge in the 4th Industrial Revolution, which is a phenomenal thing to know. Wow. And she'll become a genius, and she'll become an inventor, and she'll invent the next hearing aid that costs 10 cents and rolled out or costs $1 to the world. And 2 of my other kids are just pure entrepreneurs. They want to start their own businesses. And the 4th one also wants to be, he's brilliant, you know, really, but he's doing engineering, and he will also solve world's problems. So it's interesting, same family, same upbringing. 2 will be entrepreneurs, 2 will be brilliant at what they do. But I don't believe they'll become entrepreneurs and start their own businesses. But they will solve the world's problems. But they'll work for someone else.
That's outstanding. What is your outlook for our region? And I say our region, I'm talking SADC. If you were sitting in, what's the most uncomfortable place, I think? If you were sitting in London town and looking at SADC from an investment perspective, what do you think is 1, 2, and 3? I like the 1, 2, and 3 that's stopping you from investing your money here that we should be working on?
Well, I think, you know, I mean, number one is the regulatory issues. You know, you need to have easy regulatory issues. And it's so take your intellectual property as an example. It's hard to get your intellectual property exported from South Africa to London as an example. Because if you want to grow a company and sell it globally, and you don't want to sell it locally because the dollars are not here locally. You sell it globally, you'll get, you know, a significant order of magnitude higher price than you'll get for a local company. So that would be my hesitant number one to invest in SADC, or particularly in South Africa, is the regulatory issues of getting your intellectual property offshore, or the tax issues. You don't want to be double taxed, etc., etc. I think number 2, you have to make sure there's enough big enough market in South Africa, because I still believe you need to grow your business where you birth it. South Africa is not a huge market, but it's a good market to prove your concept out and prove that it actually works. So you're solving a problem. And in many businesses now, and if I look at my businesses, most of them now have proven they can work in South Africa, and now we're taking them offshore. And it's been an uphill ride to get the IP offshore, but we've got the IP, the intellectual property offshore. So, and number 3, I think you just got to make sure you've got enough engineers, because at the end of the day, and I'm talking about tech businesses now, you need to build fantastic tech.
Yeah.
So the great thing about South Africa, the cost of building a tech business in South Africa versus the UK or America or anywhere around the world is a significant lower. Because here, you know, we're paying an engineer here $600,000-700,000. That equivalent is 2 to 3 million in the US to pay for that engineer. You're paying a salesperson here R1 million. We're paying them $300,000 in the US, which is 4 million rand. And we've got, I'm talking real businesses. That's what we're paying them, $300,000 with a commission. And with a commission here, it's costing us $1 million, costing us 4 million there. So the cost of building a tech business here and having your outsource your development to South Africa is a huge advantage for anyone sitting in London or anyone sitting anywhere. We've got great guys. We can do it as well, but we're much cheaper. Our challenge is we're losing those guys to the Googles and the Amazons of the world, and they're hiring our people and paying them exorbitant salaries that we, unfortunately, owning these startups, we just haven't got the capital we're very capital efficient and capital light, and we just haven't got the capital to pay them what the Googles and the Apples are paying them.
We're bootstrapping.
No, absolutely. I mean, even not, you know, bootstrapping to a certain point, but you raise capital, but it's still a small amount of capital vis-a-vis a business that's started in the UK or in America. It needs probably 5 times more capital to achieve the same stuff.
Clive, where do you self-educate, and where do you send your tech entrepreneurs to educate right now? Book, blog, reading, what would you recommend for us to dive into?
I think everything. I mean, there's you don't have to go to America to go and do an MBA. You don't have to do that. You can do your own MBA of YouTube and LinkedIn, and there's so much content available from some of the best VCs in the world. Sequoia Capital and Andreessen Horowitz. They've written books. They do podcasts. They've done YouTube clips. You just have to be resourceful. Go and find them. Go to these Udemy and Coursera where you pay $10, $20, $30, $40, $50 to do a course. You can do a course, as I said, you don't need an MBA. You can do an MBA online. Turn your car into an automobile university. Go and download podcasts and download as many as you can, billion podcasts of some of the best minds in the world around technology, entrepreneurship, or whatever you want to do. And you can just turn your car into an automobile university. As I get into my car, I switch on my all my podcasts on my phone, and wherever I'm driving, I'm listening and learning and growing and learning from some of the best mentors. And some people ask me, well, how did you know that? I said, well, I learned it from the best. Well, how did you? Yeah. Why did they take you? I said, they don't. I just take them. I follow them and I put them into my car. When I'm sitting at home at night, or even when I'm watching the rugby on the weekend, I'm multitasking. I'm listening to these podcasts or YouTube, and I'm watching the rugby at the same time. So I just believe there's no reason not to grow. If you choose not to grow, if you want to grow, you can listen to the best in the world. Books, and there's some phenomenal books. I'm a huge, voracious reader of books. I'm a voracious reader of blog posts. Yeah. And I'm a voracious watcher of YouTube videos. But I really
give us three, Clive. Give us three that we can dive into from here, please.
I think there's a book called it's written by Horowitz from Andreessen Horowitz. It's called the Hard Things About Hard Things. It's a brilliant book to learn from. I mean, really, to build a business, it's a phenomenal book. The guy who's just handed over the reins from Sequoia Capital, a guy called Doug Leone. Yeah, I follow him I've watched all his YouTube clips probably 10 times. He's got a lot of stuff. He's a lot of blog posts, a lot of good stuff, and he's just handed the reins over to that South African Rudolf Werter. So he's got some phenomenal, some phenomenal content. And then, I mean, there's some really good blog posts. I'm trying to think of the name. The name just escaped me, but I'll get back to it. But I watch all these blog posts, and he interviews some of the top entrepreneurs from around the world. And how did you build your business? How did you build a sales business? How do you pay your salespeople? So you can get to know everything about everything by just listening to these guys. And I've just forgotten his name right now. But
that's okay. He does
a blog post every week.
So, Clive, what's one initiative that's on your team's whiteboard that wasn't there a month ago at the moment?
Prioritization and focus.
Okay.
Because I think what we find most our teams is they want to do everything. They get so many opportunities. As I said, they won't die from indigestion. They won't die from starvation. They'll die from indigestion. That they're not focused enough. They need to focus on becoming the best at one thing. Be a Google. Google came the best at AdWords before they bought Waze and Google Glass and all the other things they did. Focus on one thing. Focus on one customer profile, ideal customer profile. Focus on solving one problem. Focus on one geography. Become the best at what you do, 10 times better than anyone else in your market. And then we can start selling new products. We'll go a vertical expansion, which is new products, or horizontal expansion, which is new geographies. But they try and go into too many geographies with too many products too quickly. And they become the jack of all trades and master of none. So the word I use on that whiteboard is focus, focus, focus.
Okay.
First thing that's the most important, focus. Second thing is focus. And third thing is focus. And it's very hard to focus on entrepreneur because they want to do everything, to be something to everyone all the time. And it's just a killer of their businesses.
Focus enough to walk away from money.
Say no to the good things so you can say yes to the great things.
Okay. I love that. I'm going through that with a client at the moment. They want to open a new geography, but I don't think they've got South Africa down pat yet. And it's taking their eye off a problem in the business. So we use it as a noise.
Market fit.
Yeah.
Number one, product market fit. And number two, the repeatable, scalable, and profitable sales motion. You need a sales motion that you can hire salespeople and they can do what you can do as a founder. and it's repeatable. I put in a buck, I get $3 out. I put in a buck, I get $3 out. So for me as an investor, when I find companies that got product market fit and has got this motion, the sales motion that's repeatable, hell, I'll put in 15, 20, 30 million rand because I know I'm going to put 30 million rand and I'll get 100 out. I mean, it's a no-brainer. That's what I'm going to do because they've got that repeatability. And then they need to, when they go into a new geography, they need to start very small because it worked in South Africa doesn't mean it's going to work in Nigeria or Kenya or London or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
Just start with one salesperson, use the playbook and see if it does work. If it does work, start putting money into it and just expanding that market. But every market's different. As many of our retailers and our telcos have found out that you can't just go up north into Africa and it's going to work. Most of them have actually failed.
No, yeah, some of them have cost themselves many a bonus because of that, eh?
Absolutely.
How do you get yourself out of work slumps? Do you ever get into a work slump? You just come with energy, but I'm sure at the quiet of the night, it's like, sure, this was a tough quarter. How do you get out of that, Clive?
I think you just got to be positive. You got to look at the positive sides of what you've learned and not what you haven't learned, and take away the learning lessons from whatever the negativity is. Take away the positive sides out of it, and you'll get better. You can focus on the negative, but you can't change it. So what's the point?
Yeah.
Learn from the negative, but focus on the positive. Okay. Focus on what I can do differently. Focus on speaking to mentors and tell them what happened, and I'll give you some advice. If you ask for advice, listen to it. Just at least listen to it. You don't have to take the advice, but listen to it and decide what you want to do. But I've stopped focusing on the negative. I've just focused on but COVID hit us. Okay, can't change COVID. We can change what we do about COVID, not COVID. We can't change that. So just focus on what you can focus on. Just focus on. Jim Collins wrote it very nicely: the circle of influence and the circle of concern.
Yes.
Point is focusing on the circle of concern because you can't change it. So focus on the circle of influence. And you can influence the outcome of what you're doing. Do it differently. Change it tomorrow. Be more positive. You can influence what you do with life. Or you can become a victim. And if you become a victim, you're never going to get out that slump. Rather become a victor and just learn from it and be positive. So I'm the type of guy, I only see that half glass full all the time. I never see a half glass empty. And we have a bad period. I'll tell you something. We focus on it and we turn the business around. And if it does kill the business, well, then the business dies. Good. Then we'll focus on the rest of the business. Yeah. That's not a problem. But that's what venture capital is all about. You do have some bad ones. We fortunately haven't yet. But we're going to have some that are going to go to zero. But we'll do our best to make them positive and focus on the stuff that you can influence, not what you can't.
Yeah. What's something in our industry that surprised you lately that went like, wow, that was interesting?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of things, actually. I think they say that, when the tide goes out and you've got all these headwinds, you'll find that people swimming without a costume. So, rising tides float all boats. So when you're in good times, all boats are, they're flying. Everyone's flying. And when the economy turns around like it did 2 years ago, you really realize who's got a true business, because if you really are solving a problem, you will solve the problem in good times and bad times. Best businesses have been built in the bad times. And what I'm telling my guys to do in the bad times, there's two things you can do. You can be a wartime entrepreneur, you can be a peacetime entrepreneur. And we've had 12 great years from 2010 to 2022. Had 12 great years that everyone's been successful, made a lot of money. We're going through rough times now with all the things that are going around the world, the war and inflation and people's the tech valuations. There's so much downward pressure on the tech valuation. We can't change that. Let's not focus on that. But what we can do, and what the one thing is that the question you asked is, just go out there and be the best version of yourself that you can be. And what I've noticed is there's some businesses that were just COVID businesses, and they were never long-lasting, sustainable businesses. And you've just seen them now; they are swimming without their costumes on. Yeah. And it's hard for them to get out of that. Unfortunately, we don't have any of those businesses. Yeah. But you have to be able to. The lesson I've learned is you've got to be a sustainable business. Yeah. You're able to go through the good times and the bad times. And then you become a great business. And you see the great businesses, COVID, fine, either they do well or they do badly, but they had a sustainable business. The ones that never had a sustainable business are really, really struggling right now.
Yeah. So, Clive, this is a message for our new entrepreneurs. The ones you're never going to invest in, but if you had to give them a fast track to success, and there isn't a fast track, but there are a couple of cheat points. What is your technology footprint that you think is indispensable to make a company operate as effectively as possible?
Well, I think, we like capital light businesses, not capital intensive businesses. So I won't personally invest in a software business that needs hardware. And the reason I won't do that is just because hardware is very, very working capital intensive. So you raise 30 million rand and 20 million goes to hardware and 10 million goes to the software. It's not capital efficient. So for me, I like software businesses because also you can scale them to 5 billion people on the planet that have got an internet connection. You need hardware, you have to physically get the hardware there. So build, very capital light businesses. You can bootstrap them and get customer funding. Everyone says they have to get capital to raise a business. I say, no, go to your customers. You found out what they want, their problems are, and say, if I build this, will you pay for it? Yes. Okay. Can you maybe fund me now? And businesses do that. They do fund you for problems that you're going to solve. So the best funding you can find as an entrepreneur is customer funding. And customer funding is non-dilutive. You don't give equity away because giving equity is very expensive. Like giving it to me as a venture capitalist is very expensive. Rather come to me when you've got 20 customers, you've got, 1 million, 2 million, 3 million rands of revenue, and I'm giving you a much higher valuation. I'm taking less of your capital and I'm helping you grow your business. But you come to me with an idea, I'm not going to invest in you, it's too early, or just the product is too early. You haven't found out that the dogs are not yet eating the dog food. So you've built this or you've manufactured this dog food, but the dogs don't like it. And there's a great story of a company called Pets.com in the US, raised $400 million, spent $400 million, and the dogs never ate their dog food and the dogs never ate it. So they had to close the business down. $400 million later.
Wow.
They built the distribution networks. They built everything, except they never found that the dogs actually like their dog food.
And so many people do that. We're going to start a great business off our hobby because everybody loves horticulture.
Absolutely.
I get it.
And there's no market for it. It is a hobby. And if you want to have a hobby and you want to have a business that sustains yourself and you love doing it, you want to go surfing, and then for every day you can teach surfing, it's fine. There's nothing wrong with that, but it's just not a scalable business that I'm going to invest in. So it's a small business. It's we maybe call it a lifestyle business. That's fine. You're happy. That's what you like. You want to have a one-man business or two-man business. That's fine. Two-lady business. That's fine. But it's not a venture capital investable business. No. It doesn't mean it's a bad business.
Yeah. We can still be making money, making good profits. It doesn't mean that you're going
to... a year, you can live nicely, but you're not going to get money from a venture capitalist. It's not a scalable venture capital investable business. Just understand that.
Yeah. I'm going to ask you 2 more questions, and then I'm going to let you go. I've got like pages of notes here, and I can't wait to chat to you again. If you're going to write a book, you create so much content already. What would it be about if we're looking forward?
To me, about how you grow, the lessons to being a successful entrepreneur, the lessons of taking a business from 0 to 1 million, from 1 million to 10, from 10 to 100, because they're very different. The skills it takes you to get to 1 million rand is not the skills it takes you to get to 100 million rand. And I'll tell you something, it's harder to get from 0 to 100, that's 0 to 1, than to get from 100 to 200. It's much harder. That's the hardest part of building a business, is getting that 0 to like $1 million, whatever it might be. Getting from $100 million to $1 billion is easy compared to getting it from 0 to $1 million. It's hard. It's really hard. So the book would be on the lesson I've learned from getting it to 1, getting it to 10, getting it to 100, and getting it to $1 billion, because it's very different lessons, very different types of skills you need, very different types of experience. And I think most of the content that I deliver, the ones I call entrepreneur lessons from an entrepreneur, and from one of my founders told me the other day, I shouldn't call it from an entrepreneur. I should call it from an operational entrepreneur, because I've been an operator. I've built many businesses. So I know what's around the corner. I know there's a pothole if you go right and there's success if you go left. And I'm not always right, believe me, I'm learning. So, but learn from people before you. You don't have to. They don't have to pay their school fees again. Yes. It's expensive for me to invest in an entrepreneur, and they're going to not just learn from me and they're going to pay their school fees. Why? It's a very expensive way of customer acquisition. You're getting investors not just for their money, but for their wisdom and for their lessons, recognizing that they don't have all the answers, but maybe they've got some of them.
Clive, Where do we get hold of you? Where can people follow you? We know you're on LinkedIn. Where else? Where can folk find out?
I'm active, in all honesty, Daniel, I'm active on LinkedIn, and I post all my content on LinkedIn. I'm not active on Facebook, on Instagram, or any other social media. So I'm very active from a business point of view. I've got 30,000 followers on LinkedIn. So if you want to get hold of me, that's the best place. Just send me a message on LinkedIn.
Stunning.
Clive Butkow.
And they can go on to
Clive Butkow. CLIVE
And they can go onto your website and just look at what you guys are doing as well, because there's some.
Yeah, and if they've got their business and they want to raise capital, just post there. Send me an email or drop it on LinkedIn, or just send us a email message on our website.
Thank you, Clive. Then my final question is: if you were doing this interview, what's the one question you wish I'd asked Clive?
Maybe what's the best lesson I've ever learned about, when I didn't succeed in business, which there are cases.
Yeah.
Because I think you learn more from failure than you do from success. What's the one lesson that I learned that I try and bring and teach every single entrepreneur when I engage with them, mentor them, advise them, etc.
Clive, what's the one lesson that you've learned from when you had a bit of a knock, you kicked your shin a bit?
Focus.
That's cheating, man. You said that 20 minutes ago.
Focus. Don't try and please everybody. You
Okay.
will please nobody. Just rather fish in a pond than try and fish in the sea. The sea's too big.
Okay.
It's a sea of selfness. It's a fish of uniqueness. Fish in the pond. Get those first 10 customers. Make them very, very happy customers. They're obsessed about you. And I'll tell you, once you got 10, you'll get another 10 and another 10, and soon you'll have 100, you'll have 1,000. Get 10 happy customers. I'm telling you, rather than 100 okay customers, rather get 10 very, very satisfied customers. You will build a great business.
That is outstanding. Clive, this has flown by for me. Thank you. You've really shared a lot. I've got so many mic drop moments just for me on the journey. And I want to thank you for everything that you guys are doing and investing in SADC and investing in companies that hopefully are going to span the globe. And you're going to have that problem of turning them from $1 into $100 million. And we can read about you as well, even more than we do already. Clive, from my side, Daniel Robus. Yeah, go.
No, thanks, Daniel. I just want to do it. So the website is www.kalon, So please drop us if you've got any ventures, you want to raise capital, and you're not at the early stage, you've got a few customers, you're generating some revenue, please send us your pitch decks. We'll be happy to engage with you.
And use me as a reference. You'll be fine. You'll be fine.
And that was my sales punt, because I'm a salesman.
Absolutely. Let's be proud of selling. You know what? Without us, Clive, no one will get anywhere. Everyone says they're not in sales. I say, are you married? You've sold at least.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
ABS. Always be selling.
Always be selling. Clive, thank you very much. I hope you have a wonderful day, and we will see you again on Rocket.
Thank you very much. Have a great day.